for him. And but I also know he's going to get it done, and he's going to do everything he can to get back and be ready. So today, two days in pads, and these guys got after it. Felt like we got a little bit better here, and today will be a jog through. Ramp them back down before we go back up the next 2 days. So it's really mental work. We'll have two fields going so that the young guys get plenty of reps. So it'll be pretty quick, pretty fast, pretty clean, and it's all mental focus for the day. Questions?
Dan, with the Kaminsky, obviously, rough news for an important part of your team. You made that clear. But this is why you build depth. The guys that you have in that room, with some of the additions, with maybe Gude stepping up, Davenport, do you feel like you guys are in a good spot with your edge depth, even maybe that interior edge flip to kind of handle this loss?
Yeah, you never want to lose a player like that. But, yeah, I do think we're in position to certainly handle this. We feel pretty good about the guys that we have in there. Some of these young guys are developing. They're coming on. Levi looks healthy, and it's the healthiest he's been since he's been here. And he's coming on. And, certainly getting Davenport, who's getting more and more reps every day. So, yeah, that's the bad news is what I'm started with. The good news is we have pretty quality depth and starters in that room that are continuing to get better.
You mentioned Levi, I left him off, but you guys are putting a ton of work on his play, both the first team and second team. Is that in some way like a stress test, just proving that he can be that guy ready to take the next step in terms of role and snap load?
Well, I would tell you this started in the spring. We kind of mentioned him. He's earned it. I mean, it's clear that he's one of the best. I mean, it's just clear. And he plays with violence. He's stout. He's fundamentally better than he's ever been. And he's shown that he has some versatility between the big end and base and three technique. He can play some big end and sub, and nickel. And he's just earned it. I mean, and so he continues to go. He feels good. And so he's in a good place.
Do you notice a sense of urgency from him mentally? It seems like he's pretty locked in right now.
Well, I feel like there's always been a sense of urgency. It's just, he's lacked the confidence because the body hadn't felt right. That's hard when you're doing everything you can, but your body's behind you. You're trying to drag it along with you. I mean, that's a hard place to be in. And so I would say the mindset is the same. It's just now these work. This works, okay? And his confidence is just, it's going sky high. And look, Terrell's done a phenomenal job with him in that room. I mean, I feel like all of those guys have grown and gotten better across the board.
After a couple days in pads, what are you seeing from the run game? What are your expectations with Gibbs and Montgomery together for the second game?
Well, I think here's what you see is there's, you're always hoping offensively you break a few more runs. You get a few more out of there. And so I think like anything, we always start with a heavy load of different types of runs. And you see, okay, what can we really hang our hat on or get good at? And so really we haven't busted some of these out of here. The defense has done a good job, but honestly on offense it's been one guy, It's like, man, we get an unbelievable double team with Zeitler and Sewell, but yet, man, we don't get the backside cutoff, and so it's one guy here, it's one guy there, and the other 4 or 5 guys are doing it well. So look, it's a work in progress, and really to get good in the run game, you got to have pads on, you got to work it, and we just hit day 2. So I have a lot of confidence in what we're going to be able to do up front and with our backs, man, with David, and then getting Gibbs back. Look, Gibbs needs reps. He got hurt in the spring, and he's coming back off of it. He's in a good spot, but we got to push him. And he needs reps.
Just kind of a logistical question. There's some reports out there that Kaminsky could theoretically be back for a playoff run. Is the plan for him and Uti to put them on IR at roster cut down so they're eligible to come back?
Well, Brad and I we talked about this last night, and certainly, Kaminsky, that was what we talked about, and yeah, we're optimistic. Look, and if anybody can do it, anybody can come back and be ready to go. Late in the season, we know Kaminsky will do everything he can to get back. So that's tentatively, that's kind of what we're thinking.
2 days of practice, how encouraged are you to see the defense making plays repeatedly and maybe being slightly ahead of the offense so far?
I'm very encouraged because I can, I talk to AG obviously daily, but I told him, I said, man, you can feel it when you're in my position, and certainly where you guys are at, you're kind of seeing the overall picture too. Man, I can feel the defense. I feel our front. You can feel the front is being disruptive, and man, we have violent separation. The backers are playing off of them downhill fast, all of them, and then our DBs are challenging, and they're running well, pretty good athletes. And so we're in a good place. And so, man, I just feel like we're challenging each other the right way. That's what you want, right? And you want this back and forth. And so I love where we're at. And I love where we're at. Now, that being said, every day you come off and you're so happy with one group, and then one group you're not. And so there's always this back and forth, But at the end of the day, you want to know that each group is testing each other, and because that's the only way that you're going to get better on both sides of the ball, and I feel like we're doing that.
Dan, what have you seen from the Betts vis-a-vis the transformation from CFL? Is that a difficult thing for him to do?
Betts had a good spring, and man, we were excited to see him at the Sam position. That was not what we first thought of with him. It was more just kind of edge, the rush defensive end. And so we threw a lot at him at the Sam, and he started off pretty good, and then there's a lot in there. And as the install goes, it's a new position. Then I think he's playing a little bit slower than we would like. So we're going to take some of that off his plate before we start him back up in there a little bit, and just let him get his feet back under him. And I can't say that I'm surprised with that. I mean, it is. It's totally new, and he's a good athlete, out in space. So, man, he's working at it. He's getting better, and we're going to dial a little bit back and get him to where he gets his confidence back up.
What goes into that with Betts and a guy like Houston too, where the premium skill set is their ability to rush the passer, and you can plug him in there and you're going to get that. Why is it important, can you just explain that, to develop a bigger role for them, or to test them as opposed to just locking in on something they're really good at?
Yeah, it's ultimately it's about who's going to the game, and so right now you're developing, but I think you're also, to me, I'm always looking out at the 46 too, and it's like, all right, does he make the team? Great. Okay, well, if he does make the team, is he ever going to the game? Because that has a little bit to do with it as well. And so, man, the more you can do, if he can play the Sam linebacker, or certainly a backup linebacker, and he can rush as a defensive end, and he can play some special teams, well, he's a lock to go to the game. Like, there is no question. But if you're a one-trick pony and you're okay at that, but you really can't do this, and you're not really playing special teams, then, what do we do with him? Then he's just a backup that's not going to the game. We're going to hope that, well, you got him if somebody gets hurt, and then is it good enough? So it's always going to be that way. The more you can do, your value goes up.
Thanks.
Okay.